Hello guys, and welcome once more to the GCE Maths Panel. We have this last hour revision for you guys, and it's paper 2 titled Heaven's Gates. Let us look at the first part of this paper 2, which is structural section A. The first question reads, calculate the amount that will be in a savings account at the end of the year if the investment is 20,000 francs at 5% compound interest. There are actually two methods in which you can do this one, but there is a short formula which is given by the amount at the end of the period equals principal into 1 plus the rate to the power the number of years. This gives us 20,000 into 1 plus 0.05 to the power 2, and the amount is 22,050 francs. Equally, you can get the interest at the end of the first year, which is 1,000 francs, the principal to begin the new year, which is 20,000 plus 1,000, giving us 21,000, and the interest for year 2, which is 1,050, and the amount to be principal plus compound interest, giving us 22,050 francs. But you find out that the person that will do the first method will be faster. The B part, find the difference between the LCM and the GCD of 18 and 24. GCD means greatest common divisor, also called highest common factor. And the highest common factor of 18 and 24 is 6. The lowest common multiple of 18 and 24 is 72, and the difference, which means subtraction, gives us 66. Now complete the logic table shown. We have the negation of A and B. So this one is true for the negation of A and B. It is true only when A is false. When A is false and B is true. So the negation of false gives us true, true gives us true for the AND logic. And A implies B is only false when B is false, as you can see on the table. Then you equally have, the set A equals 0, 2, 4 and B equals 1, 5. Find the Cartesian products BA and AA. BA means the first element is from set A and the second. BA means the first element is from set B and the second is from set A. So we have from set B, you have 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 4. And then we have 5, 0, 5, 2, 5, 4. For AA, that is the product of itself. That is 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 4, 2, 0, 2, 2, 2, 4, and 4, 0, 4, 2, 4, 4. A map has a scale of 1 to 5,000. Find the actual area of a plot that measures 8 centimeters by 7 centimeters on the map in square meters. Here, I will advise that you first of all get the real dimensions of each, that is the length, which is 8 centimeters times 5,000, giving us 40,000 centimeters. Then you write this value in meters, knowing that 100 centimeters make 1 meter, and that gives us 400 meters. And the actual width will equally be 350 meters, and the area will be 400 times 350, which is 140,000 square meters. Equally, you can use the area scale. The area scale here will be 1 times 1 is to 5,000 times 5,000, giving us a scale of 1 is to 25 million. Then you can actually have your length in meters now, that's 0.08, and the width 0.07. When you have your area, you multiply by this scale, it's still going to give you 140,000. But this one, I prefer you don't do this method. And so with this question, we have 3 over x minus 4 plus 6 over 4 minus x. And we have to note that here the denominators are actually the same, and 4 minus x is the same as minus into 4 minus into x minus 4. They have just done some sort of swap, and you have to observe that. So therefore this equation or these fractions becomes 3 over x minus 4 plus minus 6 over x minus 4. Now that the denominators are the same, you can simply evaluate the numerators to have minus 3 on x minus 4. Question 4 reads, a plane flies on a course of 50 kilometers. The question is actually due west. It was a typo, so we have due west from O to A, and then changes course on a bearing of 300 degrees and travels another 50 kilometers to point V. Find the distance and bearing of O from B. The first thing to do here is to sketch this diagram, or to represent this actual equation. Then the plane moving from A to O and from A to B, these distances OA and OB are the same. This gives us an isosceles triangle. To calculate the angle at A, you notice that the angle at A is 30 degrees plus 90 due to the bearing of 300 degrees that has been indicated. And that small angle below the point B there is actually 30 degrees. At this point, we can actually observe that the bearing is given by 180 degrees minus this 30 degrees minus the angle at B, which is ABO. So we knew that angle at ABO, but we equally know that angle ABO and AOB are the same because this is an isosceles triangle, and this gives us the values of this angle to be equal to 30 degrees each. Therefore, our bearing here will be 180 degrees minus 30 minus 30, that's minus 60, which is 120 degrees. Now we can complete this triangle to get the value of the hypotenuse OB. If you complete this triangle, you have a right angle triangle, or a RAT, and this will be equal to the root of the sum of squares of the other two short sides. This gives us 50 plus 50 sine 30 all squared plus 50 cos 30 squared, and the square root of that gives us 86.6 kilometers. You can equally use this other idea of OB over sine B to be equal to OA over sine A, and you will have the same value of 86.6 kilometers. If B part reads sine A equals 0.8 and A is an obtuse angle, find cos A, tan A, and the value of A. This question is independent of the first. If sine A is 0.8, it means that the sine is 8 on 10. So you scratch that triangle, you will have opposite is 8, hypotenuse is 10, and the adjacent side should be 6 from Pythagoras. Therefore, the value of cos A will be 6 on 10. But since this angle is obtuse, meaning that it's in the second quadrant, that gives us cos A to be equal to minus 6 on 10, because in the second quadrant, the cosine is negative from SOHCAHTOA. Equally, tangent of A will be equal to 8 on 6, giving us minus 8 on 6 because in the second quadrant as well. The angle A will be equal to 180 degrees minus sine inverse of 0.8, and that gives us 126.87 degrees. Why? Because the angle is obtuse, an angle that lies between 90 and 180. Question 5 reads, you have the matrix A to be given by that. Find the matrix B such that A squared plus B plus 3i's equals 0, where I is a 2 by 2 identity matrix. Find also the inverse of the matrix B. Here, what you have to do is to make B the subject of the formula, and that will give us B to be minus 3i's plus A minus A squared. And when we simplify, you have a B to be equal to minus 40 to minus 4. We can now get the determinant of B to be 16, and the adjugate of B to be equal to minus 40 minus 2 minus 4, and the inverse will be 1 over that determinant of 16 times the adjugate. You can further simplify. The B part of 5 reads, given the transformation T equals that, M equals that, and N equals that, state the names of the transformations T, M, and N, and find the transformation that maps the point minus 2, 3 to 6, minus 9. Beginning with T, you note from the transformation formula I gave you in the previous tutorials that this is a 180 rotation. This is a rotation matrix, 180 degrees. M is an enlargement with scale factor of 3, which I equally gave, and N is a translation of 2 units in both axes. So, looking at this point minus 2, 3 being mapped onto 6, minus 9, you observe that minus 2, the coordinate that corresponds to the new one, which is 6, has been multiplied by minus 3. So it's some sort of a rotation and as well as an enlargement. So it has been rotated and enlarged. So this gives us a new matrix the same as 0.3 to minus 9. This gives us a rotation followed by an enlargement of scale factor 3. So my new matrix for this transformation will be minus 1, 1, 0, minus 1 times 3, 0, 0, 3. That gives us minus 3, 0, 0, minus 3. Or we just multiply the rotation matrix by a scale factor of 3. Question 6. Water flows out of a cylindrical tank of diameter 210 centimeters and height 4 meters at the rate of 5 centimeters cubed per second onto another cylindrical vessel of radius 70 centimeters and height 1 meter. Calculate the amount of water left in the tank and the time when the vessel is half filled. Note that the values that have been given here, some are in centimeters and some are in meters. So we have to work with one particular one. And my advice here is that we work with centimeters, since the rate has been given in centimeters a cube per second. When the vessel is half filled, the volume of water in it will be pi radius square times height, but since it's half, we divide by 2, and that will give us 770,000 cm cube. I am working with cm cube, all the units are in cm cube. Then the volume of water left in the tank will be pi times diameter of tank times height, since the volume is in diameter, so we divide by 4, minus the volume that has flowed out, that is 700, that is 770,000, and this will give us a value of 13,090,000, that is 130,000 cm cube. Now the volume that flows per second is given as 5 cm cube. The volume left is that amount, but the volume that flows out per second is 5 cm cube. Now we are working with the volume that is in the vessel, because the volume that has flowed out is the volume in that vessel, which is half filled, and that gives us 770,000 cm cube to be equal to the time that it will use to be equal to x. 5 cm cube corresponds to 1 second, therefore 770,000 cm cube corresponds to x, and when we cross multiply, we have a value of 154,000 seconds. You can give your answer in hours, can convert to minutes, and you have 42.78 hours. The B part below is the speed time graph of a car. Calculate the total distance traveled. Now the area under a speed time graph gives us the distance, and looking at this figure, the distance is equal to the area under this speed time graph, and this particular figure here is actually in a trapezium, and the area of a trapezium is given by half the sum of the parallel sides times the height, and the parallel sides here are, you have 25 minus 5, that gives us 20. The other side is from 0 to 40, so you have the area to be equal to 20 plus 40 on 2 times 10, which is 300 meters. This method is faster. You can divide into small triangle, the rectangle you have there, and the other triangle at the end, but that's going to waste a lot of time. But if you are not sure, you retain the formula, you can use the other one, but that one will be time consuming as well. We now move to question 7. Two numbers x and y are such that the square of y varies directly as the cube of x. Given that x equals 2 and when y equals 1, find the equation relating y and x. So according to this question, y squared is directly proportional to x cubed. So we can replace that constant, or that proportionality, by a constant equal to a constant k. And according to the equation, when x is 2, y is 1, that will give us the value of k to be equal to 6, and the equation becomes y squared equals 1 over 8 x cubed. We can now find the value of y when x is 5 by just substituting, and our y will be equal to the square root of 125 on 8. B. A GP has consecutive terms, that is successive terms, minus 1 quarter, x minus 1 quarter, 2x minus 5 on 2. Find the value of x. Since a GP, the common ratio is constant, so you have 2x minus 5 on 2 divided by x minus 1 quarter must be equal to x minus 1 quarter divided by minus 1 quarter. And when we simplify this, we will end up with a quadratic equation giving us 9 minus 16 x squared to be equal to 0, and the values of x will be 3/4 or x equals minus 3/4. Since they did not tell us if the GP is increasing or decreasing, so we have these two values. If they indicated that it was increasing, we will take only x equals 3/4, and if they said it was decreasing, we will take only x equals minus 3/4. Question 8. Find the values x, y, and z in the angles indicated. Here you have to note that this is a transversal of two parallel lines. You have these two parallel lines, and then you have two transversals here. These angles, we look at the first z, that is x plus 25 degrees and 3x minus 15 degrees. These angles are equal because these angles actually are alternate angles. So 3x minus 15 equals x plus 25. Note here that I am solving without the degrees, but at the end, when putting the final answer, I must put the degrees. Is that okay? So this will give us, when we equate, this will give us a value of x to be equal to 20 degrees. And for the B part, it will look for the angle y. We have to note that angle y plus angle x plus 25 degrees, that's 3y plus x plus 25 degrees plus that 90 degrees. Since this gives us a triangle, must be equal to 180 degrees, and our y will be equal to 15 degrees. To look for z, since z and 3y are alternate angles as well, z is equal to 3y, therefore z will be equal to 3 times 15, which is equal to 45 degrees. The B part, we have find the angles alpha, beta and lambda. Alpha, beta and lambda. When you look at the chord PR, I have indicated R, the point R there, you find that the chord subtends an angle of beta at the center and an angle of alpha at the circumference. The angle at the circumference is half the angle at the center, so beta is equal to 2 alpha. Then equally, if you look at triangle PRT, is an isosceles triangle. Therefore, alpha plus 100 degrees gives us 180 degrees, and alpha will be equal to 40 degrees. Then when you look at the tangent, PT is a tangent. Why? Because PO moves to the center of the circle. Therefore, this angle P, that is OPT, is 90 degrees. And since we already had lambda, there is a lambda at this other end here, plus this other angle will give us 90. We can work it out as follow. The angle OPR must be 50 degrees. Why? Because angle RPT is 40, which is lambda. Angle RPT is lambda and it's 40 degrees. Therefore, the remaining angle to make 90 must be 50. So the other angle at R there, that is ORP, is also 50. Therefore, means our beta is 80 degrees. That is 50 plus 50 plus beta equals 180, and beta is equal to 80. And our alpha is equal to beta on 2, which is 40 degrees. Question 9. If the amount for YAM is 3,800 francs, find the angle X and the total amount spent. So looking at this pie chart, you have rice 90 degrees, YAM is 3x minus 20, meat is X, spice is 2x minus 10. The sum of all of these angles must give us 360 degrees, and when we solve, our X will give us 50 degrees. Therefore, the angle representing 3,800 FCFA is 3x minus 20, and that gives us 3x minus 20 will be equal to 3,800, and then the total angle, which is 360 degrees, will give us the total amount. So from here, our total amount will be equal to 360 times 3,800, all that on 3 into 50. Recall that X is 50 minus 20, and that will give us a value of 10,523 francs. B. Given a cumulative frequency table, find the modal and median classes. So we have the class sizes of 4, 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and so on. Class size is 4. But here, the trick is that they have given us the cumulative frequency and not the frequency. So you need to get the frequency of each to get the modal class. So if the first one is just the same, that's 1 to 4 is 8. From 5 to 8, you will have 14 minus 8, which is 6. Then the next class, that is 9 to 12, you have 17 minus 14, which is 3. The next class, 13 to 16, is 29 minus 17, which is 12. And the last one is 40 minus 21, which is 11. Those are the frequencies. Which one has the highest frequency? Is 13 to 16. Therefore, our modal class is 13 to 16. Then, since these values sum up to 40, the total frequency is 40. Therefore, means that our median occupy the 20th and 21st position. Well, let's now look at the cumulative frequency. From 17 to 29, we have already crossed 20 and 21. So therefore means that our median class also coincides with this, which is 13 to 16. Question number 10. So question 12, you have in the vein below, find X only. Number of elements in X only is just 9. Find number of X elements in Y prime. Y prime means outside the set Y, and outside the set Y we have 9 plus 24, that gives us 33. So number of elements, you have 33. B. Find X and probability of B prime, B prime. So the value of X, just know the sum of any dichotomous, that is opposite branches, must be equal to 1. So X will be equal to 1 minus 2 feet, that gives us 3 feet. We can equally look for Y, though they have not asked for, because we need it in the second part. So our Y will be equal to 1 minus 3 quarters, which is equal to 1 quarter. Now, to get the value of B prime, B prime just means probability of A. That's the first is A and the second is A. That gives us 2 feet times 1 quarter. Note that this probability is not constant. It means when an object is removed, it is not being replaced. So it's without replacements. That gives us the probability of B prime to be equal to 1 on 10. Question 13, you have that figure. If the area is 1.5, find the values of X. So the area of a triangle is half base times height. and this gives us x into x minus 2 on 2 is equal to 1.5. So that gives us x squared minus 2x to be equal to 3. And from this quadratic, when you factorize, you have x minus 3 into x plus 1 to be 0, and x equals 3 or x equals minus 1. So since we are working with distance, our answer will be x equals 3 because distance should be positive. B, in the figure shown, find the distance AC and AB. Here we have to notice that AOC, that's a triangle, is a right angle triangle, and it's also an isosceles triangle with sides 7 centimeters and 7 centimeters, and AC here happens to be the hypotenuse. So our AC will be equal to 7 squared plus 7 squared square root, and that will give us 7 root 2 or 9.9 centimeters. And AB, actually AB is the diameter, and that gives us 2 times the radius, which is 14 centimeters. Question 14, solve for x in the following. You have the first one. The first one, our intention was to make this to be 0.125, but since it's this way, we are going to solve like that. So 64 to the power 1/3 just means the cube root of 64, which is 4, and that will give us 4 to be equal to 0.025 to the power x. Here we just have to take log on both sides. This form 3, form 4, and even part of form 5 work, and that will give us, when you take log on both sides, you now have x log 0.025 to be equal to log 4. From here, x will be equal to log 4 on log 0.025. That gives us minus 0.3758. The next one, to solve for log 4 minus 2x base 3 to be less than or equal to 2. That's an inequality involving a logarithm. First thing, to convert to exponential form, you have 3 to the power 2 to be equal to 4 minus 2x, and from there you have 2x to be less than or equal to minus 5, and x to be equal to less than or equal to minus 5 on 2. The last one involves number bases. The right hand side is already in base 10, so I'll convert the left hand side to base 10. That gives me 2, that is 2 times x minus 1 to the power 1 plus 4. That gives us 2x minus 2 plus 4 to be 16, and 2x equals 14, giving us x equals 7. The B part, given p of x equals 1 minus 2x q of x plus 3x minus 7, find q of x, given that p of x equals 2x squared minus 4x minus 4. So here we just have to solve for q of x using what has been given, and 1 minus 2x q of x plus 3x minus 7 should be equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 4, and finally q of x should be equal to 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 divided by 1 minus 2x. You can factorize to have the value of q of x, or you can use long division as I've done, and our q of x will be equal to minus x plus 3. Question 15, given the network G equals V, E, name the sets V and E and list the elements of each. So the set V is a set of vertices or nodes, as can equally be called, and has elements A, B, C, D, and set E is a set of edges or arcs or links and has elements. You have to move from A to B, that's AB, then you have AC, then you have BC and BD, then you have CD, that's the last element, and it's written in that order. State the number of vertices, links, and regions. The number of vertices, there are 4 vertices or endpoints. Links, there are 5 links, those number of lines. And how many regions? There are 3 regions. You have to open your eye very well. There are 3 regions. You can open it out as I did in the other tutorial, and you start the 3 regions. Or you can equally use the Euler's formula and you start the 3 regions. Now, given the statements P, I study hard, and Q, I pass the GCE, write in logic notation, I do not study hard, I will not pass the GCE. If I do not study hard, I will not pass the GCE is a converse of the statement, if I study hard, I will pass the GCE. So it's negation of P implies negation of Q. Then I pass the GCE if I study hard. This is actually a converse and it's written as Q implies P. Please not forget to subscribe on our channel and leave the notifications while we prepare to bring the second part of this tutorial, Heaven's Gate. We pray for the best grades for you, and as you have worked very hard, may your efforts be crowned with a success. GCE Maths Panel 2020, Heaven's Gate. Bye bye.